Hello, my friends and gems. Welcome to the Intuition Manifesto.
Again, hi, Lillian. We're not seeing you in the big picture. We're seeing your book, and I think we should probably see you.
Okay, let's see here. I've got some things I'm moving around. I'm going to do this.
There we go.
There we go.
Our beautiful Dame Lillian.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So we're going to get started here in just a few seconds. I'm trying to find where I had it queued up before you guys came on, and now I can't find. Here we go. Just a little background music here just for the beginning. Okay, so welcome to the Intuition Manifesto Masterclass. Today, my friends and gems, a little tongue-tied here. So again, I'm pointing out you don't have to be perfect to do this work to help others. So I can laugh at myself and you can laugh with me or at me. As long as you laugh, that's all that matters. So this is the Intuition Manifesto Masterclass. Today is June 29th, whether you're watching this live or whether you're seeing this on the replay. Today we have the 5R target activation. So I'm very excited about this 5R target activation. Before we get started, I wanted to see if Martha or Terry, who are on the live broadcast here, if you guys have any questions about any of the materials that we've covered up until now. I believe this is our 8th week. This is, I think, the 8th Intuition Manifesto Masterclass. So do you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, maybe even any feedback with regard to the last, the I Am Worthy coding that we did?
That was a pretty amazing session, the I Am Worthy coding, and I want to even watch that again and just really embed it in my vibrational field. So.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad to hear that you felt that it was of great benefit. What did you like best about the I Am Worthy coding from last week?
Somehow, I just really tapped into the vibrational energy and awareness of it at a deeper level than I have before.
Okay.
I guess in your facilitation of it, yeah, very meaningful.
Okay, so you felt a profound change then when you went through the coding process last week. Okay, wonderful. That is awesome. So that's the main thing. You know, the proof is in the pudding. It's what you experience when you notice a change, and when you sometimes the change is while you're doing the process. You see, hear, feel. You have some sort of sensation or knowingness, or sometimes it takes you aback where you either you might even go, oh my gosh, or something like that. And that's why I had you guys mute yourselves, because as you recall, I was very conscious about having this be a very integrative neurosomatic process where you were seeing things, you were reading things, you were hearing them, and then you were actually saying them out loud to ingrain it at a deeper level, not just in your conscious mind, but more importantly in your subconscious mind. So I'm really pleased as punch to hear that you felt that it was really valuable for you. So thank you, Terry. Thank you. And Martha, is there anything that you want to ask, or is there any feedback you want to give about your experience with the I Am Worthy code of last week, or any of the previous classes for that matter?
I really love the I Am Worthy because for me, I don't know if you know, I'm a Dr. Joe's meditator, but I asked that question on my second event. I remember when I went to my event and I asked my team leader, and I'm like, okay, I feel that I'm not worthy because for me, I always felt like somebody else always needed instead of me. So when we did the class, I was like, okay, this makes more sense. So it really helped me a lot to feel worthy that, because I felt like if somebody else was sick and I asked for something, then I was feeling like guilty or not worthy. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Martha, it makes a tremendous amount of sense. And that's exactly why I felt that it was so important to have this I am worthy coding, because that is one of the number one things that I see in my practice is oftentimes that little block that is keeping people from healing, from accepting, receiving, and embracing the healing that they know that is inherently theirs, but there's something that they really can't put a name or articulate it or give it a label. And the number one thing that I see coming up is unworthiness. And unworthiness, which sometimes is disguised in not enoughness. Some people may say, well, no, I feel pretty confident about myself. I feel worthy, but I oftentimes feel like there's not enough of me to go around, or I'm just not enough. I'm not either good enough or whatever the case might be. And that's just unworthiness by another name. It's just another shade of worthiness, of unworthiness. And so anything other than having pure unconditional love for yourself, where you completely, from a real genuine place, completely accept, receive, and embrace the who of who you are, not because of what your name is, not because of your education, not because how hard you work or how much you've done for others or how sick or how healthy you are, but you are worthy. As we said in the coding last week, you are worthy because you're here, you're alive. You are another aspect of God in human form that, make no mistakes, whether you were a planned pregnancy or not, it was planned for you to be here or you wouldn't be here. So you have an incredible amount of value that's not tied to your bank account. It has nothing to do with the amount of effort that you show up with in this world. That's also it's funny that you mentioned that, Martha, because when I went to my first Dr. Joe event, of course, a lot of people want to be healed. I had been hit by a bus, had a traumatic brain injury, a C5, C6, Alpha. You guys know my story about after you get hit by a bus, my body was mangled up and I had a terrible leg injury that was visible that everybody could see. The other things other people couldn't see, but they could see my leg, they could see that nasty scar and as it was healing, the patches and all of that. And I'll never forget, they said that there's certain people that we're going to receive tokens. I'm going to use this as a symbol of a token. These are the tokens that some of you have received in the Intuition Manifesto book. And it wasn't this token. I should have pulled out. I didn't know that I was going to be talking about this, or I would have pulled some of the Dr. Joe tokens. But they're round tokens like this. And then they tell you that your team leader has the tokens. And if you've been selected, you will receive a token and instructions as to what to do, when to show up, where to show up, etc. And I remember thinking I really, really wanted to be selected to be one of the Heelys. And I'll never forget when my team leader actually handed me a token, I was glad and I instantly felt not worthy of receiving the token, because I was really acutely aware of the people in the room who were in wheelchairs, who were on crutches, who had walkers, who I'm like, I'm not in a wheelchair. I'm not on a walker. I don't have crutches. Heck, I even refused to use a handicapped placard when my doctor said something. I'm like, I'm not handicapped in any way. I don't need that. And so I'm thinking, I'm taking away the spot of someone who is, has 50 brain tumors. And literally there was somebody in our room who actually had 50 brain tumors and 8 lung tumors, and I can't remember the number of tumors throughout their body. So again, feeling like my condition was less worthy of receiving healing than somebody like that. And the truth of the matter is, I said it here before, things can get infinitely worse and they can get infinitely better. There are people who are infinitely worse than you, and there are people who are infinitely better than you from a health perspective in terms of being whole, complete, not having any kind of medical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, any realm, so to speak. All of that doesn't matter when it comes to you living your life and you accepting and receiving and embracing the healing that is your divine birthright. You weren't born to suffer with whatever your illness or whatever physical trauma you've had from whatever accident or injury that you sustained. You simply weren't. The body was designed to heal, which is why when you get a cut without you doing anything, that cut naturally heals, right? To some degree, for some people, it's much faster than others, depending on age, depending on condition, depending on lots of different factors. But every kid, every single one of us as kids, we didn't get one cut. We got lots of cuts. We got lots of bruises. We scuffed a lot of knees, you know, whether we were running on the baseball field, running in the front yard, the backyard, riding our bikes, skateboarding, roller skating, whatever. We all got cuts and bruises and those lovely little strawberries, and they all healed. They all healed. So the body is designed to heal. So it was interesting what Jace, who happens to be Dr. Joe's son, he was my team leader the first time around. And what he said to me when I said, thank you for the token. And then I looked at him and I said, do you think that maybe I should give this to somebody else that's like in worse condition than I am? And then he looked at me with very loving eyes and he said, absolutely not. That token has your name on it, and that's for you. It makes me almost want to cry just thinking about it when he said that. And so I'm like, okay, no, there are no accidents. There's a reason why I received this, and okay, I'm all in. And I was open. I was not, when I came to have the coherence healing done on me, you know, we were all, this is the third day of the event, and we're all put into groups of eight people, and then the Heelys in the middle. And so at that point, after the 3 days of training, my mindset when I showed up was on the first day, or for the event at large, even though I was healing from a traumatic brain injury and I had all these different things that I was dealing with, my number one thing was, you know what, I'm open to whatever the divine thinks is the highest and best for me. If it includes the healing from all of it, fantastic. If something else, like whatever combination, just some of them, whatever, I was just open at that point. And I was so grateful and so much appreciation of actually being there in Cancun. And so when it comes to the I am worthiness piece, that's one of the things the very first day Dr. Joe said, which to me was, I felt like he was speaking directly to me. So I you know, in this particular case, in this Intuition Manifesto class, I'm actually speaking directly to each and every one of you. Those of you who are on here live, Terry, Martha, Jan, to those of you who are watching this on the replay, I wouldn't be doing this if this wasn't really, in the greater scheme of things, a co-creation, because you've been asking questions, you've been seeking, and now you're finding answers. In no way am I suggesting that I have all the answers, because no human being has all the answers. But when you're in your right mind and you're in that divine flow, and you sedate your ego and you sedate your brain, and you are now the boss, you are the chairman of the board of your ego and your brain, and you are using your ego and your brain and not the other way around, and you stay in your right mind, and you know that you're worthy because you have that I am worthy coding inside of you, knowing that everything is perfect. Everything is at the right time, at the right place, with the right people, for your greater good and the greater good of all, because no experience is wasted. Everything that we're experiencing, there's always a greater, larger destiny and destination point that you're going to arrive to, and you're inadvertently connected to everyone in your midst, whether they're people that are friends, family, neighbors, acquaintances, people that you stand in front or behind line while you're at the doctor's office, while you're getting your tires rotated or balanced, wherever you might show up in the world, you're always in contact with other people. And even if you don't even speak a word to that other person, make no mistakes, your vibrational frequency, your electromagnetic field is always touching and influencing people all the way around you. So as you continue knowing and being aware that you're worthy, that you are enough, that you are in fact the embodiment of love, you affect others around you with your energy and your vibration. And so my message to you is, if you haven't seen the I Am Worthy code and you've found us here on YouTube and you're just discovering this, I would encourage you to not only pick up the Intuition Manifesto book that in less than 150 pages shows you how to get out of your left mind, and instead of being caught up in loopy thinking, rationalizing, over intellectualizing, justifying why, whatever your fear mode might be, you get out of your mind and you're in your right mind now, in that connected flow where now you can actually, with certainty and clarity, you can start to distinguish what things are for your highest good, what direction, what decision you should make, because that's a game changer. Once you stay in your right mind and you have the ability to recognize the difference between your thoughts and your voice versus the divine's thoughts, because that's what intuition is. It's intuit, I see. It's the voice of the divine that's speaking to you, that is never going to yell at you. It's never going to criticize you. It just never, ever, ever will criticize you. It will never instill fear. It can't instill fear because it's pure love. Pure love, by definition, is a gift of grace. It's not going to demand, require, compel you to, push you. No, it wants to gift you all things, whatever it is that you desire. It wants to gift you only wonderful, good things. If it's healing that you want, it wants to gift you that. It wants to bring that into your experience. It loves you so much that it won't force you. It won't override you. So today's class is about the 5R target activation. Probably wondering, what are the 5 R's? So these are the 5 R's. And what we're going to do today is we're going to reset, repair, restore, rebuild, and regain. And my goal by the end of this class is that we are going to anchor those five things in your being, so that anytime you feel that something comes up, because life happens, and there's no, one of the things that I learned during my practice is that no one escapes negative thoughts in its entirety. You can mitigate it, you can lessen them, you can tame them, but because you're alive, you're always going to have a negative thought, a negative memory pop into your head. Someone might text you something, like I had one of my private clients today. She texted me that she had this terrible dream. It was an unspeakable dream, which she was just very shooken by it. And she realized after she woke up and she remembered the dream and was very bothered by the dream, she realized that the day before she had received a text that triggered her to think about some unwanted things and aspects of her old self. Now, she has come in the last year. A year ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, with bone cancer, with blood clots, and with and a lot of neuropathy, with a lot of pain. Long story short, we've really helped her restore her health. And she's actually now back to work, and just this last weekend. So she's making great strides. And so sure enough, it's almost like a little test from the universe, because one of the things, she was in a hospital bed when she first contacted me. This was in January. In March, we had her first session. And in March, she was still in a hospital bed because she actually purchased a hospital bed to put in her house because she could not get in and out of a normal hospital bed in her home. So she was in a hospital bed in terrible pain, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, that was March. By May, she was actually driving her car, not in a walker, not in a wheelchair any longer, doing so well that everything that we went through in our first, and I do have people in our private sessions, I have them make 2-week, 30-day, 60, 90-day, yada, yada, yada goals. And then neurosomatically, we go through all the different processes to resolve and dissolve things. But the bottom line is this: her first 30-day goals, she's accomplished every single one of them, which is like amazing. Didn't seem possible because here's somebody who couldn't even walk, right? Now she drove from Kentucky to Florida. So she's like, you know, in Australia, they have something called tall poppy syndrome. So if you're like, you know, doing fantastic and you're really accomplishing a lot and you're having a lot of success, the culture likes to knock you down because it's like you have this tall poppy thing that you think you're all that great. So they actually like will knock you down to bring you down to quote unquote reality, because it's like they don't want your head to get too big. So it was kind of like, that's what the text was for her. It was like a tall poppy syndrome text that it's trying to say, hey, wait a minute, don't get too confident about yourself because you're healing and defying, you know, the medical establishment and da, 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 da. And this, she's now in Florida. She's there, I think, for a few weeks. And so she had this text that triggered her, and it reminded her about the way she didn't want to be anymore. That was no longer the her that was her personality now. She was now restored and doing much better. And so it's impossible for us to manage what others think of us, what others say to us, what others text us, a comment on Facebook. Heaven knows people can be, as you guys know, people can be very kind on Facebook, and they can also be very vicious. There's some people who just go for the jugulars, right? So there's no, it's again, both directions, but you get to choose. You're the master of your own universe. You get to decide what you're going to let in. Sure, somebody can make a negative comment to you standing in a line at Starbucks. Now, it's a total stranger, so you can decide, am I going to let that in? Or am I going to think to myself, well, they're more than free to think whatever they want. What does it mean to me? Nothing, because what do I care what a total stranger? So what? They don't like my dress. So what? They don't like my hair. So what? Whatever criticism it was, you don't have to let it in. And you can say, like, one of my favorite things, I don't usually get people giving me experience where just because I was thinking or I was stating something, my subconscious is going to think, oh, this is the programming that is being downloaded. Okay, let's go to the RAS starts to go to work, you know, your reticular activating system. I'm like, no, cancel, 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 because I don't want that to be my truth. And so I'm sharing that with you because that's part of the first R, that's resetting. Now, right now, you can make a choice. You can make a choice that this is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, or you can make the choice, 5 R's, that's overwhelming. How am I supposed to remember the 5 R's? I remember they all start with R and E, but I don't really remember. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because I had to go through that decision-making process myself. As I have helped myself heal, this has been a lifelong process. I can choose that this is going to be overwhelming. This is going to be complicated. I'm never going to be able to remember these 5 R's. Or you can choose to be light and airy about it. It's like, you know what? I'm going to play, have fun. I'm going to pretend. I'm going to make believe. I go, you know what? This is recorded. So what if I don't remember it? I can rewatch this at a later point in time. I don't have to watch the entire thing. I can watch the first 5 minutes, the first 20 minutes, or 20 minutes at a time. Doesn't matter. You get to choose. It's your life. The point is, there's no need for me to beat up myself. So there's no need for you to beat up yourself. So you can choose, okay, we're going to do this 5R activation today. And there's 5 R's. I may or may not remember them. The truth is, your subconscious mind is recording everything from conception till you go to the grave. It's recording everything. So your memory, probably no one's told you this before, but your memory is perfect. Every single one of you has perfect memory.
The bird came. Walk in the mic.
Thank you.
Lauren, I need you. I'm going to mute you here. Your recall may not be 100%, but your memory is intact. Everything that you've ever thought, felt, experienced in any way, shape, or form, from conception until you go to the grave, it's in there. Now, you can command your brain, or you can allow yourself to relax and let it pop up, and you will have memories that will pop up. So one of the things that we talked about in a previous class too is one of the practices that I do, because I'm an avid learner. I love to learn. I love to absorb information. And in the medical field, things are happening so fast, and there's so much research to read that, if I were to try to learn and memorize everything the way it's traditionally done, that would be a lot of work. So one of the things that I learned to do, and I've encouraged you guys to do too, is when you're watching these Intuition Manifesto Masterclasses, you could be doing the 25 as slow as you can, long, deep breaths. For starters, it's alkalizing your body. Second of all, it's relaxing your brain. Your brain, when you're learning, you're in beta brainwave state. So as you do as slow as you can, the 25 long, deep breaths, you could either do the 25 as slow as you can, long, deep breaths, or you could do the Dr. Joe breath if you know how to do the Dr. Joe breath. But as you're doing that, you're in a very relaxed, but your brain is alert. It's awake. It's not asleep. So everything is going in with even less resistance. So because you're learning it in a relaxed state, it's easier for it to pop up. Now that perfect memory, it's easier to recall and to access that perfect memory that you have. So many of you have said, oh, I keep forgetting things. Well, if you keep on saying cancel, 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 if you keep on saying you keep forgetting things, guess what? You're going to find yourself forgetting a lot more things, because that's the program that you installed. So the first thing is to reset yourself and decide, is this going to be easy? You get to choose. I'm going to choose that this process is going to be easy. The 5 R's, I don't have to remember what they are. I know that they're in my memory. My subconscious mind knows exactly what those 5 R's are. Any and all of this information, any information that I choose to accept, receive, and embrace for my greatest good, for the greater good of all, it's at my fingertips. And so my memory is perfect, and my recall is getting better and better, because as I am more relaxed and I am more loving, I am the embodiment of love. Where I am the embodiment of love, I choose to be love, to give love, to receive love. Now you have love in you, through you, and all around you. That is a high vibrational frequency. So of course, everything, when you least expect it, it will bubble up into your mind. The next thing you know it, you'll be saying and speaking things you're like, I didn't even realize that I remembered, that I knew all of that. And you're like, just when you needed it, it popped out. So that first R is the reset. And we're going to go through a process. And I'm just going to go through each one right now before we actually dive in deep into the actual neurosomatic process to bring your intuition up and to reset, repair, restore, rebuild, and regain. Okay. So the first one is resetting. So it starts with a decision. It's very easy. You just choose. And you're all muted right now, so you can all, in the comfort of your own home, say, I decide for this to be easy peasy. Now, I like a lot of onomatopoeia in a lot of the teachings that I do, because it makes it fun, it makes it ear-catching, and it makes it easier for us to remember. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You want learning. You want these things to be easy. Who wants it to be hard? I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of done and over with hard work. I worked my astonishing assets off in the past, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I like easy peasy. So we're going to reset ourselves. And from this point moving forward, we're going to decide, okay, yes, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to absorb this. I'm going to accept this. And it's going to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I don't have the burden of having to remember anything, because my memory is perfect. Congratulations. If this is the first time anyone has told you that you have perfect memory, congratulations. Newsflash. If it's not the first time, then hello, the universe wants you to have this reminder that you have perfect memory. Okay. So the next thing is, okay, as you've decided it's going to be easy peasy, There are other things in your life that you probably want to reset. Now, I've told you guys always to make sure that you come to the class with either 3x5 cards or a composition notebook. I love, you guys know I love 3x5 cards. I love composition notebooks. They're invaluable. Doesn't matter. Pick your poison, as they say. You can write down there, if there are 3 things in your life that right now you want to reset, now would be a good time to write those 3 things down. So you can go ahead, write down, okay, I'm going to take a few minutes here and I'm going to write down 3 things in my life that I would like to reset. You know, maybe you want to reset. Maybe you started off the beginning of the year with a health and fitness goal to work out X amount of days a week, or to bike ride X amount of hours or X amount of miles a week, whatever it is. It could be in your health and fitness. It could be just in your health and well-being. It could be in your financial life. It could be in your spiritual life. Maybe you're looking to up your meditation practice from 30 minutes to an hour, or an hour to 2 hours, or 3, whatever. So go ahead, give yourself permission, write down 3 things that you want to reset in your life. Some of you, it could be even study courses. Thank you, Jennifer. I love the thumbs up. Maybe you bought an online course and maybe you started it and then something happened that you stopped and you just realized, oh man, it's been over a month or 2 or 3 months now. And we really got to, get back into that because I bought that online course because I really wanted to learn that information. And so don't beat yourself up about what you haven't done. Today's a new day. So you have an opportunity to reset 3 things. So go ahead, write 3 things that you want to reset. And then we're going to come back to that resetting of those 3 things. And now we're going to move on to the second R, which is repair. So we all have things in our body and in our life that we have to repair. Now, I want to tell you a little secret that's not such a secret, but in esoteric practices and in esoteric traditions, it's long been held. The Essenes talk at great length about the mirrors and how, there's the Kabbalah, there's the Essenes, there's the Taoists. They talk about as above, so below. I remember when I first heard about as above, so below, I thought it's like the heavens, like what's in heavens or the outer space, and below is like what's on planet Earth. And then, of course, as I studied more in Kabbalah, I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's one aspect. That's like the obvious 3D aspect, but there's a whole lot more to this than that. If you look closely at what they're trying to tell us, as above, like inside your head, in your brain, in your thoughts, which is connected to the quantum, to the divine, to that right mind, right? So as you think it up in your mind, so is it not just below the neck inside your body, but so is it below as in the 3D plane of reality. So oftentimes we have things that trip us up. I'm sure you guys have heard of the expression that, I'm all tripped up over this thing at work, or I'm all tripped up over this thing, with my tax returns or whatever. Well, as you're tripped up inside, it's not uncommon for people to physically trip on the outside. That's a classic example as above, so below. So we see this in so many different, and I'm going to tell you from my personal experiences. So for example, in 2004, you all know 2001 was like the whole 9/11 fiasco, and the whole world was, up in arms over that. So now scroll a little forward in the video, the motion picture of the life of me, and you go to 2004, and it's April 2004, and I'm leaving to go pick up my 3 Bambinos. And for whatever reason, I wasn't in my office. I had stopped by my house to pick up something, probably because I needed some sports gear for one of my boys and had to pick that up before I left. So I walked in the front door, turned on my I turned on my washing machine in my laundry room, went up to the boys' rooms, got whatever baseball, water polo, gymnastics equipment, And then by the time I came down, my first floor was 3 inches underwater. 3 inches underwater. So I was like, what the heck? And I didn't see it. I was in such a hurry that I wasn't looking at the floor. I just went splash from the second floor. When I went down the stairs, my foot went splash and my foot was underwater. I was like, oh, what the heck? And then I saw there's like 3 to 4 inches underwater. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of water for my entire first floor to be underwater. So I thought, how is this even possible? So what I didn't know what was happening was my oldest son was away on a trip to Yosemite on a skiing trip. Okay. Now, right before he left, it's weird how, we see things in one way as we're navigating through life. And as our journey moves forward, they appear to be one way. As you look back in the rear view mirror and you start to connect the dots of things that have happened, you start to see, oh, okay, wait a minute. I see what's kind of going on here. In the midst of it, it's not so obvious. Sometimes you might have a go, is it this, that, or whatnot? But not always. I'm definitely more aware now than I was then. So just the week prior, during a baseball game, my 11-year-old son was hit by a baseball square in the back. He was the catcher. He had gone up to pick to catch the ball. And for whatever reason, he turned around and then the ball hit him straight right on the spine, knocked him out. And he was unconscious for maybe 2 minutes. And luckily we had a physician. We had a couple of physicians that were on the team, checked him out, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, that was a Saturday. So fast forward to Friday. He went on a skiing trip with his best friend, with that family. And now it's like the following week. And now the night before he came home on Good Friday. It happened to be, the signs were so weird because it was Easter was on Sunday and now it's Good Friday. And so he's returning on Good Friday. Thursday night, he had called me and he said, Mom, my legs are kind of feeling weird. And I kind of feel like I have cement in my legs, like something's not right. And I told him, oh, don't worry about it because, we live at sea level because we live, at the beach and you're at 8,000 feet of elevation. You probably have a touch of seasickness or not seasickness of, altitude sickness, and the air is a lot thinner as you're higher up. Your heart has to work a lot harder. You're building up a lot more lactic acid in your muscles. And I had told him before he went, make sure you have an Epsom salt bath every night because you're not used to, doing advanced diamond run, skiing for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. That's a lot of activity, even for a kid. So I said, make sure you do, get in the jacuzzi after, in the evenings. And then when you go to take a bath, make sure you take a bath and do Epsom salt because you want to, put calcium and magnesium back into your body, yada, yada, yada. So now he comes home on a Friday. And we've got this whole water thing kind of going on. And he is like, he calls me when he's like in Ventura County, which is 2 hours north of here, short of, getting home. And he's like, you know what? We stopped to grab a bite to eat. And Kenneth and Derek, they were able to run out of the car and run into Del Taco, Taco Bell, wherever it was that they went. He goes, but I couldn't run. He goes, I could only walk. And I said, kind of interesting. I'm like, okay, well, I'm sure everything will be fine. Well, I'll see you when you get home. So he gets home, fast forward to Easter morning. So now Easter morning, I'm not going to tell you everything that happened on Saturday because of course a few things happened, but the long story short is this. Sunday morning, he physically could not get out of bed. He did not have the gross motor skills or the fine motor skills to do that. I didn't know that at the time. I was noticing that he was having impediment in his gross motor skills, which is moving your arms, your legs, and so forth, but I had no idea that it was also affecting his fine motor skills. So now I had to help him out of bed, which was very unusual because he was usually the first one up. He's very disciplined, very self-motivated. Now he gets up and I noticed that he's not walking. He's very groggy and he's shuffling his feet. When I hand to him his spin toothbrush, he doesn't have the ability to turn on. You know how easy it is to just turn on a spin toothbrush. Everybody does that, right? He was unable to do that, at which point that's where all the alarm bells went off for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, gross motor skills, fine motor skills. We have a serious problem here. This could be an emergency. So what does that have to do with my house being underwater? Well, you all know about quantum entanglement. We've discussed at great length here in the Intuition Manifesto class how consciousness is not defined and it's also not confined by space and time. It can move forward and backwards. It all simultaneously exists at the same time. So I believe in my heart of hearts, I know this to be true, that my house was crying. I had these circumstances that were in the midst of unfolding, but I was unaware of them for the early part of the week. By the time my son started manifesting these symptoms that I was actually able to witness and I was now interacting with him, then that's when all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, we actually have an emergency. So that ended up resulting in 11 and a half weeks in the hospital in pediatric intensive care unit. So where this whole point is as above, so below. What does this have to do with anything? My house was crying because it was entangled. Your house and your car are reflections of you. If you don't know this, if you are constantly having things that are breaking down in your house, that is just your proprioceptive system isn't just limited to the physical body of you. If you're driving your car, your proprioceptive system knows to include the exterior of your car to keep you from bumping into the car in front of you, bouncing off the cars to the right or left, etc. It knows to judge distance because it extends the proprioceptive grid to include your car, because that gives you a sense of distance and separation from things around you. Okay. The same thing is true with your house. So if you have things that are breaking in your house, chances are there are things that are breaking inside of you. It could be an emotional or physical. Usually it's both. It's very seldom that something physical breaks inside of you that isn't tied to something emotional. But you may not identify it as being tied together. You may think that it's just an emotional thing or it's just a physical thing. So, and it could be a trauma, or it could be a manifestation of some sort of disease, okay? So that's why I'm bringing this up, is that awareness of as above, so below. So as you're looking to repair things in your life, maybe it's repairing your finances, maybe it's repairing your health and well-being, maybe it's repairing your ability, maybe you used to be a fast reader and now you're a slower reader for whatever reason, and now you want to increase your rate of speed of reading. Whatever it is that you want to repair, I want you to write down 3 things. And it could be that some of the things that you're resetting maybe also requires some sort of reparation. So write down 3 things. They could be completely 3 different things, or they could be related, or maybe one of the 3 things that you already wrote requires some sort of repair. Maybe you need a car repair. Maybe you need a house repair. Maybe you need a financial repair. Whatever kind of repair, whatever stands out in your inner being, write that down. And I just want you to give yourself permission to freely write these things down. And after you've done this entire Intuition Manifesto Masterclass, after you've left this and now you walk away from it, don't think about this at all. Maybe the next day or so, start to think about this as above, so below. Because as you have things, like I had somebody recently who, so fascinating. Again, you connect the dots looking in the past. She had her 3rd ankle sprain, and she's sprained her ankle 3 times, like every 3 years. So like 3 years ago, she was the 2nd time she sprained her ankle. And then 3 years before that, she sprained her ankle. So it's like every 3 years, she's spraining her ankle. Now, she's also showing a great deal of dissatisfaction in her career, where she went back to school, got a degree, not really wanting to get this degree, but it made sense because she thought she was going to make a good living. It was secure and stable. And so she was doing it not because it was her passion, but because, so she's kind of forcing herself to get this additional degree because it's like, you know, like your mom or father, your parents often say, oh, become a doctor, a lawyer, an attorney type of a thing, because you know you can always get a job as a doctor, an attorney, or a lawyer, or an accountant, or an engineer, whatever. But it's not really because it's a passion. And so there's been health conditions along the way, but it's like uncanny how it's 3 years apart every year, every 3 years around the same time. So that is showing her, it's an outward manifestation that she's getting tripped up. She can't take a step in the right direction, happens to be her right foot, and this time it wasn't as harsh of a sprain as the two previous sprains. So I told her, again, it's an as above, so below. So as you're looking at that, it's like this sprain wasn't as bad. Well, the summers, let's say the last 3 or 4 summers, it's like they haven't been restful, you know, for her. It's like, even though she's had the summer off and she's had time to do more of the things that, you know, are there to restore her soul, to just have recreation and to have like fun. It's been like, you know, working on all these rental, it's like working, it's like being a self-imposed, you know, slave driver. And so no wonder this whole thing is going on. This time, you know, she's still on that same path, but she's offering herself a whole lot more grace. So she's allowing herself to sleep more than 3 hours a night. Can you imagine sleeping only 3 hours a night for years on end? So of course your body's going to fail you, because it's not healthy for any human being to just survive, you know, and that's what it is. It's survival on 3 hours a night. We would never impose that on one of our children, on our mate, our spouse, our best friend, on an employee. Yet, how oftentimes, I mean, I'm guilty of doing all-nighters and just, I mean, heaven knows I've done 3-hour sleep, you know, minimum sleep when I've been to different trainings and certifications. But to do that every single night, that's not the most loving thing towards yourself. So, of course, it's manifesting. And it's funny because she had it manifest as a sprained ankle with a pattern of 3-3-3. And then she also had car issues where she couldn't get her car to run. Notice how I said your proprioceptive system goes to enclose and contain your car too. Her car, like her feet, your feet are a natural born device that's used to get you from point A to point B. You travel and journey through life on your feet, right? It's your foundation. Well, your car is an extension of that, and you can get to places much faster. And so thankfully, she took the decision to beautify her car, not just do the things that were bare minimum necessary to keep it going, but she decided to give it a paint job and even change her license plates and even change the frame around the license plate. Those are things that make her feel good. She felt like, and I love when she languaged it this way, because I've never heard anybody language it that way. She kind of felt like she was putting jewelry on her car and decorating it, just like we put earrings and necklaces. Well, that's what she was doing with her car, putting all these pretty things and so forth. And so things have gotten monumentally better for her. And so I just share this with you to give you kind of an insight as to what it looks like, that as above, so below, because this has everything to do with your mindset, with how you think of yourself, how you're anchored, and how you show up in the environment in which you live, in the environment. Make no mistakes, your car is an environment. In Southern California, we spend a lot of time in our car oftentimes because we drive long, you know, places, a lot of distance to get to different places and so forth. I think as Americans, we spend a great deal of time in our cars, but make no mistakes, it's our vehicle to get us from destination point A to destination point B. So paying attention to those things. Myself, this last weekend, I got a flat tire. Now I know that has a medical physical feedback that's telling me something. Now I recognize It's amazing how powerful we are as creators. Because I was having a blissful time in Santa Barbara. I went to this gorgeous, beautiful soiree. My friend Lisa, she has a ranch up there right next to the Reagan Ranch, right off the same road. Beautiful 10,000 square foot home, gorgeous, everything, the people, the views out of every room. And it was an outdoor party as well. So the views in that Santa Ynez Valley for Santa Barbara is just stunning. So I'm having a awesome time, right? I'm feeling great. And then on Sunday, I had decided, because I spent the night. So on Sunday, when I checked out of my hotel, I figured, okay, I'm just going to go grab, I'm going to wake up leisurely. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to check out at 11 or 12. And then I'm just going to go grab a lunch, again, with no time frame. I'm not compelled to be anywhere at any time. I figured I can get back by midnight if I want to Huntington Beach, or I can even get back later, or if I feel like it, I can even book another night. Doesn't matter. I'm just going to enjoy the time that I'm there because it's such a beautiful area geographically. It's just gorgeous. And there's a lot of wineries and horse ranches and things like that. So my plan was just to do that. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to go after I finished having lunch, had an awesome time. You guys probably saw a Facebook Live that I did on P. Soup Anderson's. Then I figured, okay, I'm going to go to the golf course. I'm just going to, because I happen to I have a new putter. I figured I'm going to putt around and hit some balls for like an hour just to see the beautiful Zaca Creek Country Club. And then I'm just going to do that just for an hour. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time there. I just want to see the golf course and I want to be in that beautiful environment. And then I'm going to move on and I'm going to go then to the winery. As it turns out, I missed the turnoff for the golf course. So I made it to the winery, Stanford Wineries. And I had a great time at the Stanford Winery. One of the gals that was also at the soiree, turns out that she's the head educator in wine at Stanford. So we got to exchange numbers and everything and talk. As I was leaving, again, I'm in a very high vibe at this point. I have the thought, now I don't know why I had this thought, but I did. So I should have canceled it, but I didn't. So I'm driving my car and I'm just looking around and I'm like, gee, I have these low profile tires on my Merc. I really don't care for my low profile tires. It seems like they're more susceptible to popping, even though I've never had a flat tire in this car yet. But maybe I'll look into maybe changing my profile tires and low profile tires into regular tires. Although I like the way the car looks as is, but I think it's more comfortable. The cars that this is the first car I have that has low profile tires. Not the first sports car I have, but it's the first low profile tires. So as I'm leaving the Sanford Winery, I kid you not, 5 minutes later, I'm driving not particularly fast, probably 50, 60 miles, maybe 40 miles an hour. I don't really remember because I wasn't really looking down at the speedometer. All of a sudden I heard a boom. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, that kind of hit my wheels kind of hard. I hope it didn't affect any of my wheels, thinking about my low profile tires. And I looked in my rearview mirror. I didn't see any potholes or anything. So I'm like, I don't know what that was, but whatever it was small. It was small, but large enough to catch my tire where my right tire went. You could hear the bam as soon as it hit it. You could actually hit the rim. I heard the rim hit the ground. So then a few minutes later, sure enough, I have the tire sensor prompt shows up on my dashboard saying your tires alarm, your PSI level is dropping. And so it showed, originally it was both of them were 36 in the front. So it went from 36, it was now 34, 33, 32, 31. I'm like, oh no, I think I got a flat. And then it just started plummeting down all the way down to 9 PSI. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a flat. So I pulled over, I looked at my right tire and I couldn't see anywhere. It wasn't obvious. And, low profile tires, the way these cars are built, the hull of the tire is very close to the wheel. So you can't really see the tire to see if there's a hole. Not that I would be able to see it, even if it was. You probably have to rotate it, but clearly I have a flat tire because I got 9 PSI now from my original 36. So I had to call a tow truck. I had to call AAA. Couldn't get a hold of AAA. The connection was bad. I had to inch my car along just a little bit further, a few hundred yards, to catch a T-Mobile signal so I could make the call. Bottom line was that tire, I ended up with a flat tire. Now, I had the earlier thought 5 minutes before of not being too crazy about the low profile tires and about wondering if I could get a flat. So I'm here to say that I think that I manifested that because I asked the wrong question. Instead of my saying, it's like, although these are low profile tires, I could say, I'm really happy and grateful that I've never had a flat, that they've done well by me. And no matter where I've gone, I go to Nevada, I go to, San Diego, I go to Santa Barbara, I go to Carmel. My tires are always fine. These low profile tires are probably better than what I thought. That's not what I said. And that's not the question I asked was, and it was a rhetorical question, but a question no less. And so what happened in my 3D universe was, boom, I didn't even say it out loud to anyone. It was a thought that I had, but a very clear thought that I had. And so now, as above, so below. So boom, now I have the flat tire. So now here I stand before you. I have a spare on my tire. And now the wheel, the actual rim, is being fixed at a rim repair specialist. But that's just to show you how my misstep was in allowing that thought to linger and entertaining it for long. I could have canceled it and I could have reset it. I could have replaced it with a better asking question instead of what am I doing wrong? Because that question was equivalent to what am I doing wrong? And when you ask, what am I doing wrong? Your brain goes to show you everything that you're doing wrong. And then your 3D experience reflects back to you. That's the mirror. It's going to reflect back to you because you asked, what are you doing wrong? You want evidence? This is everything you're doing wrong. So if I would have asked a better question or canceled that, cancel, then I would have said, hey, how good are these low profile tires that they always seem to come through for me? I've never had any problem with them in 4 years that I've had this car. It's all perfect. It's great. These are better than what I anticipated, better than what I expected. But no, you go, how good can it get? So that is just showing me that that was my misstep. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, there's all sorts of, I'm going to share a story. I know that Terry doesn't mind my sharing the story.
I wanted to say something though.
Please.
Something unusual. Well, it's been for a couple years actually. Hold on, let me go to the other room. But it's with regards to my car and the issue with my car is that, so I have the engine light on, like it's not working, but it's the mechanic, I don't know, fixed it several months ago. And there was a while that I think the battery is off and I wasn't using it for a while, but so anyways, and so I got it and they said it's this, so then I fixed it and the problem was that they turned the check engine light off. So it's still on and I can't get my smog done. And so the last time, I went to the manager and asked for a refund because they didn't fix the problem, because the whole point is to get the smog working. The car runs fine. So anyways, I got the refund back and my check engine light's still on. So I think I'm just going to go somewhere else and see what's going on, or maybe just go to maybe not a dealership place and just have it turn off or on, or I don't know. We have a neighbor who's a mechanic actually next door. We found out. So maybe like turn it off and, but I wonder how that, is as above, so below with whatever's going on in my life,
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So as you are recognizing that mechanic that was supposed to fix your car engine wasn't really delivering and giving you the level of care that you were expecting, to fulfill
Oh.
what we promised, right? So there might be other areas in your life where internally you're feeling that there are things that are not being fulfilled as promised. So your engine, that has to do with like your being. So if what I'm saying resonates with you, then you know what to do. As you start to think about, it's like, where else do I have things that are unacceptable, that aren't being delivered according to what was agreed? And maybe it's a matter of you, once you take, like you've taken the step to say, okay, this mechanic can't deliver what they promised, so I deserve to have this fixed and find someone who will deliver on their promise.
Right.
So you say no to this. Maybe you would have said, well, I'm just going to let it be like that. And then you tolerate that less than good situation.
And I did for a while. Yeah.
You did. Now, how do I know that? Because I did that.
I was busy. Yeah.
I remember very distinctly having something similar, also with a smog certificate and an engine light.
Right. Yeah.
I had a similar thing. And so as I reconciled these things and I decided, I'm like, okay, obviously I realized it's like, this mechanic isn't as good as I thought. So I need to change mechanics and find one who is going to deliver and do what they promised to do, and not just get by with just fixing this, but not this. It's like, no, the entirety of this needs to be a complete cycle of action. And then as you do that and you recognize for yourself, where in my life do I have that same feeling? Because feeling is the secret, because you have that same feeling. It's the same vibrational frequency that's happening, having to do something personally with you, that's being exterior of you. Once you recognize, oh, that's that same feeling. It's like, now you're giving notice to the universe. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm not willing to take this less than, like, instead of getting an A quality repair and service, I'm willing to accept a C, somebody who just got C's in school. No, C is like just above failing, What's okay about like a C? No, you want an A. You're worthy of an A. But if you don't feel that you're worthy of an A, then what's reflected on the outside is going to say, okay, they're willing to settle for a C. And she's willing to keep it and kind of get.
And she didn't, they're not checking to make sure that the engine was off. I think that was like, I think maybe exactly. They didn't complete it. I think it could be, there was a kind of a doctor's office that I didn't really like. And now it's just like customer service or, practitioners I visit, if they aren't thorough or whatever. I think that's where that could be. Before that I was so busy with school, so I couldn't focus on it. I was going to get to it in the summer. So now that's like a project. And I was been thinking in the back of my head, like there's minor things that need to be done with the car. Like there's like a little rip in the seat, and I want to get that fixed. And that's kind of an eyesore. It kind of bothers me. And so I've been thinking, and I need to get the Sirius XM that turned off, and I have an unlimited subscription. I need to get that back on because after the battery happens. So and that's like my entertainment,
Brings you joy. Yeah.
Brings me joy. Right. So
see, the fact that you're recognizing these things and you're able to share them here is showing me, but more importantly, it's showing you your awareness, how these things are reflecting things that are bothering you on the inside that are manifesting on the outside. And as you tend to them and start to cross them off your list, you're going to notice, you're going to feel so much better, then more good things are going to start to come. And you're like, okay, you know what? I used to allow this to just like stay and stay and stay. And you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I used to do that. I used to do a lot of that myself because I didn't think I was worth.
I got other stuff going on.
I had just like everybody else. And so as I got away from that, I noticed it's like, oh my gosh, it's like all those years that I put up with that unnecessarily. So you start cleaning that up, and you don't have to clean everything up at a time. Start with those things that you just mentioned. As you clean that up,
right.
And you also mentioned you had some different medical things that were going on that you were less than pleased with. You
right, the service.
Yeah, you have a choice. We all have a choice. But you're also, it's as above, so below. As you think and know You're aware that you are worthy, that there are other people that always have the most excellent care. They have the most excellent results. They have all these wonderful things happening. You can claim that for you, but no one can claim it for you. I can want it. I can want it for you with all my heart, but I can't want it in place of you. And I can't want it more than you do. You have to want it for you because only you can control your free will.
And I was actually really pleased that I got my money back. Like it was like $400.
That's a lot of money.
I know that the manager, because a lot of times they don't want to do that, so that was great.
Yeah. So the universe is giving you feedback. It's like, okay, you're willing to stand up for yourself. So look, it's remunerating you with your money back. So now it's no money. Of course, your time is out of pocket, but it's no experience is wasted. So you learn something valuable from this. So now you can take that and now you can apply those funds to the next place.
And then the mechanic next door also mentioned that my husband's, something unusual happened with my husband's vehicle too lately. I wasn't in the car. Him and my daughter got a minor car accident. But anyways, he had these lights that were always bothering him. So they fixed that on the car with, I can't believe it. So that ended up being a plus,
Wow.
Did you hear me? I don't know if it cut out. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But he mentioned that there was something else like the starter that needs to happen, or I don't know. He gave some advice about what needs to be fixed. So, my daughter just right now. My husband too.
Yeah, you cut out there for a little bit. But so I'm glad.
Okay, but anyways, it's something to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now that you're aware of those things and you're aware of that mirror effect, that as you're thinking above, so it is below, not only in your body, but in your 3D experience. And if you have leaking pipes, flooding in your house, that's your house crying. So where in your life are you crying? When I was crying, I was not physically, I wasn't giving myself permission to cry over what happened with my son, even though he was in the hospital for 11 weeks. Everybody around me was crying.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't cry at all.
That's scary.
It is very scary because he almost died. They didn't know what was going on. And so it was, he came down, he was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré, which now we're.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. There's a big insurgence of that right now because of everything that's going on in our world.
Right.
It was very unheard of at that time. Children never get Guillain-Barré, although again, that's changing at this point in time as well. But the point of the matter is that, the house was crying. I was crying. I was having all sorts of emotions, but I was kind of in a bubble state as well. But that's, again, it was part of the journey that I had to go through to see, okay, how this affects.
I didn't leave it open.
Below. So.
Oh, okay. My husband said I left the garage door open. I went to dinner with my mom.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's something else. Being distracted is another thing of mine.
Well, there's neurosomatic practices for that. If you do the PSMO, that will help your distraction.
PSI?
The
okay.
PSMO that I oftentimes link at the end of the
okay.
classes, that because it helps relink your right and your left hemisphere of your brain.
Oh, I did a one where they do I'm trying to think what it is. It's not biofeedback, binaural beats,
binaural beats.
Binaural beats. And yeah, I noticed a difference immediately. I was just listening to some kind of soundtrack with the left and the right. So cool.
Yeah. And if you do meditation where I have I think one of the meditation secrets that we did was on heart and brain coherence. That helps a great deal for overall health,
nice
in general. So I would recommend that too.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to put you on mute. There you go. Moving on here. Okay. So we did reset, repair, restore. So restoration, when you are restoring something, is that you're taking something that was maybe in an older state and condition, and now you're wanting to make it anew. So when you restore things, it could be maybe you're restoring a certain aspect of your life, a certain condition in your life. but I want you to take a few minutes and also write down something that you would like to restore. Sometimes people have either older vehicles that they want to restore or bicycles that they want to restore. Maybe it's an old photo album that, I don't know if you guys have those old photo albums where you have like the static cling. And for a while, you know, for a few years, they work fine, but after 20 years, they, you know, the plastic doesn't stay on anymore. Maybe it's time to, you know, either have it restored, either you take the time to restore it, or you give it to a group of kids in your family to help you restore it, or you hire somebody to restore it. But you might want to restore that. I had somebody who recently put all their family photos and they paid somebody to do this absolutely beautiful. It was a very large album and it was just a nice restoration, very beautifully done with nice titling of all the pictures from the time he got married to, like, you know, basically up until his wife passed away recently. And so to restore something, to bring something that looks old now and make it anew. It could be an old coin. It could even be jewelry. You might have, I think we all at some point, I know I have one piece of jewelry now that needs to be taken to the jeweler and it needs to be restored. I need to have a new clasp put on it. So the thing is to not allow many of those pieces of jewelry to accumulate. There was a time where something would break and I wouldn't take it. And I would have 2, 3, 4, 5 necklaces. And so I eventually decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to catch up and I'm going to have this fixed. And then lo and behold, I'm able to wear those beautiful gold necklaces again. For years, I was denied wearing those necklaces simply because I hadn't taken them in to get restored. And so you might want to look into what things do you have in your life that might need to be restored. Maybe it has to do, maybe you want to restore your way of thinking. Maybe you used to be very positive minded. Maybe something bad happened, some sort of trauma, some sort of unforeseeable circumstance. Maybe somebody passed. And maybe you want to restore that joyful, happy, uplifted person because maybe you've been more down and depressed. And if that's the case, then you can restore yourself to a previous happier, joyous state so that you can recuperate that state of being. So write down 3 things that you would like to restore. Do you have old books that you want to restore? Jewelry, cars, bikes, motorcycles, books, photo albums? Is it something about your personality that you want to restore? Maybe you've stopped laughing over the last 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe 10 years. Maybe you used to laugh a lot. And maybe for the last 10 or 20 years, you slowly but surely realize, wow, I never laugh. I can't imagine going a day without laughter. Honestly, I can't. But I've heard people who've said, oh, you know, I lost this job or my mother died. Oh, I know one person whose mother died and hasn't had a good day since his mother died. And then 3 years to the day, on the day that she died, he ended up passing away. I think he willed himself to death because he was only 59 years old and he was in good shape. So you guys may think, oh, how important is it to laugh? It's very important to laugh. You know, you get all sorts of endorphins and oxytocin. You know, oxytocin will bathe your brain every time you laugh. So it is very important, your state of being and your choosing to be happy, because happiness is a choice. So you can choose to be happy. You can choose to surround yourself with funny things, funny people, funny movies. In fact, I'll post it in the Intuition Manifesto Masterclass group. There's 50 movies throughout the entire pandemic. I haven't posted it in a while, but during the pandemic, there were so many people that were so agitated and, you know, there's so much negative thinking that we all can be fraught with. So I have a list of over 50 movies and TV shows. Not all of them are PG. There's a lot of them are R because of vocabulary. Some of them are inappropriate, like Chris Rock. I mean, if you know Chris Rock, you know he's inappropriate, right? Funny as all get out, but inappropriate. He did a Netflix special called Tambourine, which is hysterical. There's 50 funny movies and TV shows. I will put that there. Feel free to share them with anyone you know that is interested in experiencing a little laughter. I can think of no better gift than the gift of laughter. I think it's important to surround yourself with laughter, to allow yourself to laugh. Google funny videos on YouTube. Google funny jokes. Ask Siri to tell you, even if they're lame jokes, check it out, because it's important for the human spirit and for your body's well-being, for you to be in homeostasis, to offset some of the stress that you experience. You need to laugh. Laughing is a release, much like crying, but it's a more joyful. Of course, you have tears of joy, but short of tears of joy, laughing is a great release. I actually know someone who was diagnosed years ago with prostate cancer. How many years ago? I think 25 years ago, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And when he was diagnosed, they told him he had 6 months to 2 years max to live. And so the day that he was diagnosed, he quit smoking, he quit drinking, and he started on what I like to call laugh therapy. And he started watching funny movies every single day. Every single day he would watch 1, 2, or 3 funny movies. And then whatever funny things that were in the movies, he would tell us all about it. Any of his friends, in-laws, anybody that he talked to, his neighbors, he would be sharing about the funny experience, the funny laughter that he experienced during this funny movie, during that funny movie. And he lasted 11 years after that initial diagnosis. And I think that in large part that was due to his laughter therapy. He obviously had a change in lifestyle. He quit smoking, he quit drinking, which those two together probably, that's creating a lot of inflammation in the body that's unnecessary. So it probably slowed down that whole process. But the bathing that he received from the oxytocin of laughing every day for hours, every single day, our body is all chemistry. So I can't emphasize enough laughter. Laugh, laugh, laugh. It's very, very important. So hopefully by now you've written down your 3 things that you're going to restore. That's our third R. And so the next R, our fourth R, is rebuild. So I don't know what it is that you would like to rebuild. But some of us want to rebuild our garden. Maybe we want it to look totally different. Again, it could be inside your body, outside your body, maybe something in your home, something in maybe your rental properties. Doesn't matter. Maybe you want to rebuild the way you show up in the world, and you want to redesign your life to include a certain number of vacations over a calendar year, over a course of 12 months. I know people who haven't taken a vacation in over 25 years. And you can choose, okay, you've gone 25 years without a vacation. You can choose to rebuild your life in a way that moving forward, recognizing and realizing that life is too short for a full-time job that doesn't allow for any fun. Now would be a good time to start putting fun into your life. And maybe you might want to have two-week vacation. So a month off out of 12 months. And maybe for the next 25 years, you're going to reset your life so that every summer and every spring, or every summer and every winter, I mean, you get to pick. It's whatever you choose, but maybe you're going to go, okay, you know what? I'm going to go for 2 weeks in June and 2 weeks in January. I'm going to go somewhere, don't know where, but I'm going to honor that. And I'm going to rebuild my life to include that at all times, because I'm realizing that, life isn't a dress rehearsal. And time is flying by. The last 25 years went by fast. And it's time to start enjoying life now, not tomorrow, today. The days, especially that end in Y, are the days that you need to enjoy. Life is a gift. And you will appreciate that gift more, even if you start to embrace laughter and joy and like-minded people who want to embrace laughter and joy and who will play with you. Playing is not reserved just for 2-year-olds, 15-year-olds, and 20-year-olds. Laughter, joy, and playfulness is reserved for those who, if you got a pulse, it's reserved for you, but you got to choose it. So write down 3 things. I know some of you are probably going, 3 things already. But trust yourself that your inner guidance, your intuition is speaking to you. So let it bubble up. Okay. So write down what it is that you want to rebuild in your experience, in your life, inside, outside, or around you. Okay. The next R is regain. So I think regain is a very valuable thing to embrace, because every single person, from a one-day-old baby is older than the moment when they were born. Okay. So each and every one of us are aging every second, every minute, every hour, every day, week, month, year, decade. And so it is possible for you to regain the strength that you had when you were in your 30s, your 20s, your teens. It is possible. I know plenty of people who have done it. I've done it myself as well. And okay, so here we go. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I'm going to share this with you guys too. Okay, so I've always been very athletic, very, I got a scholarship to the National Ballet Academy. I danced. I was really big into working out and so forth and keeping fit. And as luck would have it, of course, the universe slows us down. If we don't slow down, and if we're always in 5th gear, things happen to drop you to 3rd gear, to 1st gear, or put you flat on your back. And so I had been admonished, I had been told by multiple people to slow down because I was pregnant. And you guys know from reading the book, The Nutrition Manifesto, I did have 3 high-risk pregnancies, all of which resulted in preterm labor. So with each one of those high-risk pregnancies, and I was put on bed rest very early, well, with the first one, not so early. I was 23 weeks with my son, but with the last 2 pregnancies at 18 weeks, like you're barely 4 months, I was on bed rest, which I thought was an overreaction, but it wasn't an overreaction of the doctors. They were right, because all 3 kids were two months early. So all that to say that when you're in the hospital for 2 months, 3 months at a time, I spent over a year in the hospital as a result of these pregnancies. And so every time I was put on bed rest, your muscles, when you go from being used to, doing a certain amount of physical activity where you're constantly building up your muscles, and I wasn't building muscle I wasn't like a bodybuilder or anything like that. I was just very physically active, riding lots of miles on the bikes, inline skating, dancing a little bit, working out at the gym, and that type of stuff. So I was in really good shape, but you get quickly out of shape when you do 2 things. When you are laying flat on your back on a hospital bed, and they're giving you muscle relaxants to keep you from contracting, where every muscle in your body is relaxed, including your eyelids. Couldn't even hold my eyes open because even the muscles of my eyes were like completely relaxed, where I could not completely keep them open. So what happens is your muscles atrophy. So your muscles atrophy pretty quickly. And by the time I gave birth, and even before I gave birth and before I got out of the hospital, your skin becomes kind of translucent, and you can actually see the veins in your legs and the veins in your chest. And it's not the most attractive thing, but it's because your muscles atrophy, and you're taking, you're on meds to relax everything from the top of your head down to your toes. And then you also have the toxins that are being put in you, right? So after I gave birth, and then after I'm no longer on bed rest, and now I'm allowed to get up and go, your body is weak because you have no muscle tone. You have no muscle tone, and your muscles are like I hate to say it, but it's like an old person, even though I was in my late 20s with my first child when he was born. And with my other two kids, I was 33 and 35. And so I really wasn't concerned about how quickly it would take me to get back into shape. I was just so focused on my kids surviving, making it, being alive, and being happy that, I was a new mom and all that. But I will tell you that once I got out, I knew enough about the human body that the body has incredible, we talked about the 4 levels of memory before. You've got the memory in your left brain, because that's where the fragment of the memory is actually put in a fractionated form on the left side of your brain. So that's the first level of memory. Second level of memory is your muscle memory. Third level, cellular memory. Fourth level is water memory. So I was aware that the body has a certain muscle memory. And I knew that even though I was exhausted, just to sit up, forget working out or doing anything strenuous, just sitting up from having been laying down. So I'm sharing this with you guys so that you see, I have gone from being completely flat on my back, being in the hospital for months at a time, stuck to IVs where they're not feeding you any food because they don't know if at a minute notice they might have to throw you into the ER, into the OR. And so I'm being intravenously fed, these meds and what little nutrients I'm being fed intravenously too. So long story short, my whole body was atrophied by the time the whole story was done. So I had to go from that to now, after the baby gave birth, then of course, they sit you up so that you can start to nurse and so forth. It was exhausting. It took every ounce of energy for me to sit up, forget getting out of the bed, just to sit up. But I did it because I had to. Now, all that to say that I went from that to, in a very short period of time, I want to say in less than a couple of months, I was able to get back all of my muscle tone. I was able to get back all of my stamina while I'm nursing a baby, mind you, and nursing a premature baby. The first few weeks, of course, I'm going back and forth between the hospital, and home, because after they release you, he was still in the hospital for a few weeks. All 3 of them were in the hospital for a bit. But the bottom line is this. So I know what it's like to go from completely atrophied muscles and to have to get your body back into shape. I did not hit the gym hard. I'd be lying to you if I told you that, because that's not true. I took it very gradually. I was also recuperating from having given birth. All of you who are moms who have given birth, what it's like. It's like those 6 weeks, even under the best of circumstances, takes a while to heal everything, right? So, and your body's adjusting to the new change in hormones and all that. So I managed to go through all of that. But all of that to say that I was able to regain my muscle tone. I was able to regain my stamina. I was able to regain my energy. And so I did that in my 30s. Okay. So that was in my 30s. I'm going to say mostly 30s because my first one, I was 28 when I had him. Now, fast forward when I got hit by a bus. So when I got hit by a bus, even though I wasn't stuck to IVs for months on end, I kind of went through the whole same thing again, where it didn't quite decay as bad, but I was in a heck of a lot more pain. So I had to build up my body again because I lost 8 pounds when I didn't have 8 pounds to lose. So I looked almost like a skeleton. It was not a pretty sight. I lost a lot of weight. I wasn't eating less. In fact, I upscaled my eating. I increased my protein. I was doing all sorts of things to try to gain weight. And I know some of you are going, it's like, oh, poor you couldn't gain weight. Well, I was underweight. I had to gain those 8 pounds back. And despite my best efforts, my chemistry was so out of whack. I was just not losing any more weight. Thank God I wasn't losing any more weight because I kind of already look super skinny. It was not pleasant. So the bottom line is that even though that happened and I was 40, very much 40 plus, was over 45 actually. The bottom line is I was able to restore all of my muscle strength, all my stamina, all of my energy. Did it happen overnight? No. But again, those 4 levels of memory. your body within 8 weeks, if you just decide, it's like, okay, you know what, I want to get back into shape. I want to regain my muscle tone. I want to regain my energy, my stamina, and so forth. You can do it. Of course, those, you know, are there supplements that you can take to help that? Yeah, there's oral supplements that you can take. You know, stem cell patches probably work, not probably, absolutely work far better. But you can even do it without. I did it without the stem cell patches. I now have access to stem cell patches, so I would definitely have put that on, because it would have expedited everything, because it resets your genetics. Like 4,000 of your genes are reset within a very short time frame. So that would have provided a lot of relief faster. But the bottom line is this: if you choose that you want to regain, like my best friend, a couple years ago, she hadn't been working out with a trainer for years, and she used to be very much in shape and so forth. You know, life happens to all of us. And so there's been some weight gain, and she still looked great, but she didn't have that muscle tone. And, you know, you feel better when you work out. You just feel stronger, and it feels like you're more predisposed to have better posture and things like that. And so she decided, okay, it was 2 summers ago, two Augusts ago. And she decided to bite the bullet, get a trainer. And she was shocked that first week that she went back. And I'm just sharing this with you in case you're thinking about what you want to regain as your muscle tone, your muscle strength, your stamina, and your energy. Because she got that trainer and she was shocked that first week how easy it was. Again, the 4 levels of memory, it sprung right back for her. She just decided, I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to hire the trainer. I'm going to do it. I start this week. She did it, and boom, within the first week, her 4 levels of memory sprung into action. She changed a little bit of her diet. Yeah, no question about that. She followed the instruction of the trainer, but she was amazed how good she felt. And within a week's time, she could actually feel herself getting stronger in a week. Now her and I are, I hate to say it, no, I'm not going to give out the age, but we're over 45. But the bottom line is that in a week, she felt much better. And she continued to work out with that trainer and kept on getting stronger. And we couldn't believe how well her body responded to just the working out. So if you're looking to regain muscle, anything along those lines, I'm telling you from a physical perspective, whether you're just trying to get yourself back to a balanced state, forget getting super muscles or anything like that. If you just want to regain a youthfulness about you, it's possible. If you want to regain your youthful state where you were in great shape, where you had good muscle tone, where you had stamina, where you had energy, it's possible too. And it won't take you as long as it did when you were in your 20s or in your teens, because when you did it in your teens and your 20s, your body didn't know what it was that you were conditioning it to. So it may have taken you 4, 6, 8 months for you to get your body to be in this optimal shape. So by the time you graduated from high school, graduated from college, by the time you were 23, 24, 25, when you started doing these exercises and so forth, bike riding, whatever sport it was that you're enduring, I want you to know your body remembers. It hasn't lost any of it. 100% of that memory, you have 100% memory recall. So you can do it. You just have to choose it, and then give yourself grace without giving yourself pressure and doubting, am I going to be able to do this? There's no timeline. You just choose it, move forward in that direction, and you're going to experience that in what I believe will be record time that will surprise you. And I know that you guys will call me up, you'll text me, you'll DM me, you'll put comments below and let me know what that's like, because that's what happens.
How do you get a hold of the stem cell patches?
If you're interested in that, just DM me. We can talk a little bit about that off the Intuition Manifesto.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, if you're interested in that. So regaining, that's another very critical element in the in the overall state of your well-being. So
Lillian,
yes,
I can attest that the body does come back into wholeness and stamina and strength quickly as you get older. It happened to me. I started paddling the canoe and I hadn't done it for a couple of years. And within just a couple of weeks, my muscles got so much stronger that even my chiropractor noticed it.
So see, there you go. And that's amazing for you to be able to, and that's pretty strenuous to do rowing. It takes a lot of upper body strength, and you're with all these other people on there, and you're in the sun, you're getting all this great vitamin D, but the sun can also tire you out if you're in the sun, especially in Hawaii, where it's such a brilliant sun close to the equator. And yet, you know, I know I'm going to say you're over 42 like I am, and you were able to restore that, you said, in a couple weeks, and even your chiropractor noticed, which is great feedback to you.
Here's the other thing. I've never had upper body strength my whole life. So the rowing and the canoeing is something different for me with the upper body, and it still came in online quickly.
So again, it's like sometimes we underestimate. We want to say, you know, our ego tries to keep us in the familiar path. So it says, oh, that's true for everybody else, but it's not going to be true for you. It's not true. It's like, you know what, ego, shut up, time out. Brain do as I say. I'm deciding to regain my muscle strength, my muscle tone, my vibrational, like my vibrance, my energy, my stamina. Yeah, all those things can increase. And so there you go. 2 weeks for Terry, who didn't, I'm not one with a lot of upper body strength too. So, but I know that if I were to decide to do rowing or canoeing, whatever, you know, my body, because I've worked it out not only at the gym, but also in what I've done in the past and writing and so forth, I know that my body would respond. It has that muscle memory, and it knows, oh, okay, this is what she's doing. Yeah, we know how to do this. It's like, oh, we don't really know how to canoe, so we got to figure that part out, and the rhythm of all this. But it's like the burning of your mitochondria is actually in each and every little cell. Those are the little factories of energy that each cell has, that has something called ATP, and it's what provides the fuel for your body, so that you do have cell regeneration, so that you do have that so that you have that ability to restore your body head to toe. So thank you so much, Terry, for sharing that with us, because I think that's valuable for people to know that, and to recognize that even your chiropractor could sense the difference in you in just 2 weeks. That's very huge. So we're going to take a minute now. We're going to do a little process. You all should have completed writing 3 things for each one of these things. Again, the little list here. I'm going to do a real close up so that you guys can reset, repair, restore, rebuild, and regain. Okay, so we're going to do a guided meditation. I'm going to put a little bit of music on, and we're going to do this. And the key thing in doing this process is you're going to just follow the guided meditation. All you have to do is relax and mentally see yourself doing whatever it is that I'm guiding you through. And after we're done with this, forget about it. Don't obsess. Don't go back and go, what were those, you know, you don't need to, you need to let it go, because you need to let it float up, quite literally. The energy of what we're working with right here, right now, it's going to be inside of you, and then you're uploading it, and then you need to release it so that the energy can reform into the new particles, and then you can start to realize these things in your 3D. Okay, so that's like the key component, because I know my tendency, I'm an A personality, I'm a recovering A personality type. I would be like, oh, let me watch this again. What were those 5 R's? Let me take notes. Let me transcribe. This is, I'm not joking. That's the hand to write it down. You're thinking about it, you're seeing it, you're feeling the sensation on the paper. Your body is very well aware of what you're programming into it. It knows what you've been focusing on for this last hour and a half. So this is the last little bit to realize it, and then let it go. Oops, looks like we lost Jennifer, and we're getting her right back. Okay, so let me Bring the music. Okay, so I want everybody to be in a relaxed state. If you happen to have water on hand, next class, I want you guys to have water on hand. But if you have your water with you, I want you to have a few gulps of water. And we're going to start this guided process. Relax with your spine straight, right hand, left hand on your lap. If it feels more comfortable to have it on your knees, go ahead. Just be relaxed. Inhaling slowly. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Relax, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In a moment, not yet, but just a moment. I want you to visualize in your mind's eye a color that would represent the things that you've written down on your paper. As you reset, as you repair, as you restore, as you rebuild, and you regain your life. In your body, outside of your body, and what's in your environment. What color would that be? So play, pretend, make believe that you see this beautiful color. You're going to grab that color with both of your hands. You're going to hold that energy above your head. Feel the vibration of that energy. Feel the vibrance. Feel the texture. Feel how the energy is slowly flowing into your hands, down your arms. And as you hold that energy, I want you to take the energy and put it on top of your head. And as it flows down your head, it's covering your entire head, your throat, your chest, your arms, your heart space, your torso, your belly, your hips. It's like a warm salve that's a wave going down, just dripping, dropping down your legs, to your knees, through your calves, to your ankles, to your toes, wherever it goes, it keeps on growing and sowing, resetting, repairing, restoring, rebuilding, regaining those things that you so much resolve, to rebuild, to restore, repair, and reset those things that you have chosen easily, effortlessly. Oh yes, this is your time. It's your I am time. I am worthy. I am resetting. I am repairing. I am restoring. I am rebuilding. I am regaining. As you feel this energy, I want you to take your hands and cross them over your heart.
Give me an answer. Drink me a beer, cold beer.
Feeling and
Change
revealing.
my euros to slotty. Wake up your bed, my hand.
This energy is moving through you and all around you. As you begin to notice, you're aware that this energy is swirling clockwise inside of you, moving forward to reset, repair, restore, rebuild, and regain the things you've chosen. It's your time to use your free will. You choose how to use your consciousness and how to use your time. It's all divine. The energy, as it swirls clockwise inside of you, it swirls from the top of your head all the way down like a vortex, down to your toes. As it goes down to your toes, you notice that the energy comes through your soles down to the core of the earth. As that energy, you see it in the core of the earth. Anything that doesn't serve you is spun out and left in the core of the earth. Those little specks of something. Some of you might see little black specks flying out. Other of you might see gray specks, silver specks, brown specks, purple specks, whatever color. It's all fine. Those are things that don't serve you any longer. The energy is being refined and defined and purified, and it's coming right back up into the soles of your feet. Feel the energy go through your calves, to your knees, to your legs, to your hips, to your belly. Oh, it feels so yummy in your belly. Filling your heart, filling your lungs, filling your throat, filling your head, filling your arms, tingling in your fingers, down to the smallest DNA particles in your body, even affecting your little telomeres at the end of your DNA strands. This energy is brightly, brightly glowing. It's pristine, it's crystalline. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Feel the hum of that energy. I am happy. I am. I am love. Yes, I am. I am love. I am love. This is my time. This is divine. For me, in me, and through me. It's all around me. I embrace this time. I accept. I receive. I embrace this moment in time that I can carry with me at all times. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I want you to take both your hands, raise them up above your head. And as you raise them above your head, you're going to draw 8 figure eights, and we'll count them out for you. So we're going to start with the first one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now, relax, dropping your hands back on your lap. Now, if you feel goosebumps, chicken skin, ASMR, or energy flowing, or just a vibration in your body, it's all okay. If you feel nothing, that's okay too. Now I want you to recall a time and place where you stood before the foot of your bed. And as you stood before the foot of your bed, you're recognizing that it's a comfy bed. It has comfortable, thick blankets, comfy pillows. And as you stand in front of this bed, you feel the mattress behind your legs, all along recognizing, realizing, being totally aware that if you were to fall back on that bed, surely that bed is strong enough and stable enough to catch you. So in your mind's eye, you're going to cross your arms over your heart, and you're going to allow yourself to fall back on that bed and let out a big sigh. And plop, you're on the bed now. So together with me, everyone, release a big sigh. Feels good to allow, to accept that bed caught you and holds you. You've received this peace, this calmness, this serenity. You're embracing this gift that has always been yours. We're going to do 2 quick sighs followed by an exhale, 3 sets of 3. So with me, inhale. Now, my friends and gems, you are relaxed in a calm, serene state, knowing that at any point in time, you can come back to this feeling, to this experience. This is for you, at the right time, at the right place, with the right people. And I want you to, in your mind's eye, hold your left hand and hold up your right hand and close your fingers. And you're going to put your right hand fingers inside the palm of your hand. You're going to anchor this experience. You're going to anchor this feeling. Anytime you want to revisit this experience and this feeling, just hold up your left hand, bunch up your fingers of your right hand, and put it inside the middle of the palm of your hand. Even if you don't remember all the details, it doesn't matter. Just holding up your left hand, open palm, with your right hand, with your fingers bunched, and the center of that palm touching, you'll instantly have that feel-good feeling. So in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, you're going to relax your hands now back down on your lap. And just revel, just delight and savor this beautiful feeling. See what you see, hear what you hear. See what you hear and smell what you smell. Smell what you smell, taste what you taste. Smell what you taste and see what you hear and feel what you feel. Last but not least, you're aware your intuition has been boosted, and we are complete. And when you're ready, open your eyes and awaken. Ooh. Okay. My friends and gems, I hope that was a pleasant process for you. If anyone wants to report back, wants to say anything, just unmute yourself, raise your hand. Oh, Martha, thank you for the heart, Martha.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you. You should have a great night's sleep. This is a great way to end the evening before you retire and go to sleep in these gooey, gooey, wonderful feeling.
Yes.
Thank you, Martha.
Well, that was a pretty spectacular exercise, but at the end you had us relax. So now my conscious mind is not remembering it. Only my subconscious mind is remembering whatever experience I had.
So all you have to do to re-experience this, and
Oh, okay.
this is the what I said, the left hand up, open palm
Okay.
with your right fingers bunched up, and all you do is touch the heart of your palm. And even if you don't remember, it doesn't matter because your body remembers everything. So it's an anchored feeling. So at any point in time, if you do this, you'll be calm and you're knowing you're resetting, repairing, restoring, rebuilding, and regaining whatever it was that you wrote down effortlessly.
Well, I was enthralled with the body sensations I was having. Like my body just felt like all sparkly and vibrating. And if you've ever been on water, when the sun glints on it, the little sparkle diamonds that are in the water, that's what it felt like was going on inside my body.
Wow, beautiful. Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. Thank you, Terry, for
Thank you.
that back. That's awesome. Very cool, very cool. Okay. So unless someone else wants to say anything, we are going to make this a wrap. We're going to close this, my friends and gems. Thank you again for showing up for another Intuition Manifesto Masterclass. I got to tell you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really feel and believe that this is a co-creation, that we created these Intuition Manifesto Masterclasses and these experiences together. So thank you for being part of this co-creation. Thank you for showing up. Jan and Lauren, thank you for joining us here too. And Jennifer, I'm gonna make sure I name you all by name. I love and adore you guys all. Thank you, thank you. Let me see if there's anything else that you guys asked here. Apparently I was frozen for a little bit and apparently now I am unfrozen. So it is officially now summertime because it's past the 21st of June. So happy summer, yay. So thank you, my friends and gems. I look forward to seeing you again. And until we meet again next Wednesday, ciao for now. Sending you my heartfelt love.
Thank you.
Thank you.